conference, and she's top 5 in free throws as well.
These teams were scheduled to meet January 22nd and 23rd in the regular season. Those games canceled. ODU leads the all-time series 8-4, and the Monarchs have won the last 2. Quick fire three-pointer off the mark by Victoria Morris. Starting 5 for North Texas is the same as it was last time they hit the floor, which was a 75-66 win over the top seed from the Western Division, the Rice Owls.
Top seed and defending champions in the conference. That was an impressive win for Coach Jaylee Mitchell's squad. It was kind of the capping off of what was one of the better regular seasons in program history.
Old Dominion needed an overtime win, 83-77 over Western Kentucky yesterday. A game that they trailed by as many as 12 points.
You look at Old Dominion, they have their legs underneath them because they got to play a game yesterday. Now, with it going to overtime and with the quick turnaround, is there going to be a little bit of a lax here? Because the Monarchs want to get up and they want to run. Push the pace, pedal to the metal is exactly what you're going to see from Delisha Milton-Jones' squad tonight.
Both teams 0 for 3 shooting to begin this ball game. Scoreless with 8:40 remaining in the first quarter. Turnover by the Monarchs, going the direction of the Mean Green. Head coach of ODU in her first season, Delisha Milton-Jones.
And two-time Olympic gold medalist, former head coach at Pepperdine. She left that position to become an assistant at Syracuse before making her way to Old Dominion. And though it's been a tough year for the Monarchs after being the 2nd seed in last year's conference tournament, they have found a bit of a rhythm as of late with 3 straight wins.
Quincy Noble, the first to score. She has a team-leading 17.8 points per game for UNT. Milton-Jones, a 3-time WNBA All-Star, 2-time champion. And she had an interesting process to get here to ODU. We'll tell you more about that as we go forward. The head coach of North Texas is Jaylee Mitchell, the best to ever play for the Mean Green, all-time leading scorer, and her number 44 hangs from the rafters at the Super Pit. Shot clock violation by the Monarchs.
And you're talking about Jaylee Mitchell and the way that she's improved this team and this program from the time that she arrived, or I guess went back to Denton is probably the best way to describe it. Came up through the Texas coaching staff down in Austin and then took over North Texas back in 2015. 4-year all-conference player during her playing days, and like you said, the best that North Texas has seen on the floor.
Jazzion Jackson can't hit with the left hand. Foul committed, and it'll be Old Dominion possession.
If you're North Texas, this is a game where you look at the matchup, and it's a little bit tougher than what you would normally see from a 3 seed and a 6 seed. This is an Old Dominion team that has dealt with depth issues. They've dealt with injuries over their 2021 campaign, and even though there's only 7 conference wins there, this is a very talented squad. We talked about that with the 4 scores from last night's ball game. If they're not careful and they catch fire, this North Texas defense could be on their heels early.
Rattles around and falls out for Victoria Morris, all-conference second-team pick. On the other end, Jazzion Jackson gets her first 2.
Jackson and Noble, 2 of those guards for North Texas that are so efficient with the basketball. Jackson scores just over 40% of the time, where Noble is over 42%. Each of those numbers leading the team, and for guards to lead the team in that category, that shows a lot about the way they pick their shots.
Amari Young pulls up from the low post to hit. On low post on the other end, Rochelle Lee. She's been solid for North Texas since getting into the starting lineup.
6'3" Memphis, Tennessee native, and like you said, earned her way into the starting lineup a couple weeks ago, or it seems like months ago now, because she seems like a veteran down low. She's very confident with the basketball in her hands, and you can see it on plays like that. That's going to be a height mismatch that ODU is going to have to deal with through this game.
Adams misses, but Wayne with the offensive rebound puts it back. The junior out of Birmingham.
That's one of the things that's also fun about this Old Dominion team is they may not have the height, but they are really good at rebounding the basketball. 4th in the conference in offensive rebounds per game. They fight for those boards.
6-4 UNT over ODU. Coming up on the midway point in the first quarter. Long pass down to Wayne. Rolls in.
One thing that Coach Milton Jones talked about when Asia Wayne came to the forefront is she gets the job done, a lunch pail type of player.
Wayne had 16 points yesterday in their preliminary round win over Western Kentucky. Ball gets away. First turnover committed by North Texas, and Morris from free throw extended left.
This is exactly what Old Dominion wants to do. They want to force turnovers on the defensive end. Once they get a stop, push it. Go down in transition. Have some outlet passes if you need to, but don't be afraid to pull up from the mid-range if it's open.
6-0 run by the Monarchs over the last minute. And North Texas can't connect. Adams pulls up top of the key. Off the mark. Fight for it down low. Quincy Noble. Season high 10 rebounds for her back on February 26th against Marshall. Spin move denied by Adams. ODU running again. Wayne met by Lee. Old Dominion, fresh off an overtime win over Western Kentucky. They are running and gunning against the 3 seed from the West.
Surgery is very safe for that
You yesterday, what an amazing job just sending that game to overtime. They were down by 5 with 22 seconds left in regulation. Morris hit a 3-pointer. Then a few seconds later, Adams came up with a steal, and Robinson laid it in with 2 seconds left to tie it at 65.
And the third straight win against Western Kentucky. And for those who maybe haven't kept up with Conference USA women's basketball this season, you might have looked at the preliminary round and said, what, the play-in game or the preliminary round is a WKU Old Dominion matchup. Those have been two of the better programs in the conference over the last 5 years or so. And it turned out to be a fantastic game, maybe the best game of the weekend. It was the first game played.
9-6 ODU over North Texas. Old Dominion out-rebounding UNT at this point, 9-5. One of the more storied programs in all of women's college basketball. 22 conference tournament titles and 3 times winning the national championship.
Storied program, and they definitely have a feel. They have a culture around Old Dominion and around Norfolk that ultimately you want to win if you're in women's basketball.
Quincy Noble finally stops the scoring skid for North Texas. Block on the other end. Noble getting it done on both ends of the floor here in the last 30 seconds.
And she ended up getting the foul after the offensive rebound. Good job of Old Dominion in keeping that ball high and keeping it up above the shoulders, because as soon as you put it back on the floor, it allows for maybe a steal, a takeaway, and then you're going the other direction. But that was a fantastic job by the junior and Asia Wayne to just keep that up above her head, and it allowed Quincy Noble to make some contact.
Yep, after the initial block, Noble credited with her first foul. Now Wayne at the line. Her career high came against Auburn last season, 35 points. This year, her best effort, 23 points against Florida Atlantic on January 8th. That led to her winning Conference Player of the Week honors.
She's already got 7. And if she catches fire, watch out. I mean, we saw what she did last night. 16 points, 8 rebounds against Western Kentucky.
Neal looked around and ultimately fired it off. Bad miss off the backboard. Asia Hudson seeing action for the first time today, coming off the bench. She had 15 yesterday coming off the bench for ODU.
Yeah, she is really the extra starter, really, for Old Dominion. They, like I said in the open, don't really run a ton of girls out onto the floor. But when they do, they have significant playing time. And even though she is the 6th girl off the floor and the first one off the bench, she averages just under 30 minutes a game and just under 10 points as well. She sees a ton of the floor.
Mariah Adams to the line. And Maggie Robinson checks back in for Old Dominion. Adams had a team high 20 points in their win over the Lady Toppers yesterday, and 5 rebounds, one of them coming on the offensive boards with 2 minutes left in the fourth, a putback that tied the game at 60. And she hits both free throws. 13-8, Monarchs over the Mean Green, nearing the 3-minute mark of the first quarter.
There's a couple storylines already brewing in this one. First off, neither team has made a three-point bucket so far. North Texas, a team that's very good at guarding the perimeter. Old Dominion, one that likes to light it up from deep, and neither team has hit from beyond the arc.
Nia Boyd way off the mark. Forcing a shot with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Adams taking care of business herself with 3 players clad in white and green on her. Offensive board by Wayne, and she'll take it back out. Now driving back in baseline. Bad pass. Nia Boyd in the way of it. She'll try to turn it into 2 points. She does off the glass.
That was perfect from Nia Boyd. Had 2 Navy jerseys trailing her all the way down the floor. Kept under control. Able to give that Euro step and had a wide open look as soon as she got to the low block.
Old Dominion's lead trimmed to 3. They haven't scored in the last 3 minutes.
Look at Boyd just jumping into the passing lane. There's the 2 jerseys, pinching her from each side. And then she switches into the lane. Kept her defender off balance. And when you have a defender on skates there, you know it. They start backpedaling, and that's what the speed can do from some of these sophomore guards out of North Texas.
Neal, right side. Adams comes down with another board. Quick pass to Wayne. Stops and pops.
9 of the 15 points going to Wayne. We were told before the game that one thing that comes to mind when you talk about the Birmingham native is, well, she needs to win. It's not even just a want. It's a need to win. She is that type of competitor, and you can see it whenever she has a game like this.
That gritty attitude and style of play from the Magic City. Quincy Noble, top of the 3 key. The first 3-pointer for either team in this ballgame.
Took almost the entirety of the first quarter to finally get that. North Texas doesn't put up a ton of threes. They're only 9th in the conference in terms of 3-point makes per game, but they're very efficient when they do so. 33%, which is 3rd.
Wayne with another offensive board. Double dribble call. Asia Wayne. Great body control down low.
You see just gathering herself right on the low block, allowing the defender in Destiny Brooks to flash in front of her, really without phasing anything. That's what you get from the veteran. Just a junior. She'll be back next year for the Monarchs. You know, Coach Milton Jones is pretty happy about that. She already looks like a leader and really the go-to scorer on the floor.
Tie ball game at 15 with under a minute to go in the first. Old Dominion's largest lead here in the opening quarter was 5 points. Trying to go back in front, but they'll throw it away. 6th turnover committed by the Monarchs. The Mean Green has only given it away 1 time.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference in the box score right now. North Texas has not gotten to the free throw line. Old Dominion has, but Old Dominion has given up way too many possessions here in this first quarter to really distance themselves from the Mean Green.
With the left hand driving to the hoop, Emma Vilas Gomez.
Vilas Gomez, 15 points in her last outing. Coach said she could be the first forward off the bench, depending on the situation. Madison Townley in a little bit of foul trouble. Couple fouls here in this first period.
ODU ties it up just before the end of the quarter. 17-17. Monarchs in Mean Green. Tight basketball game. Monarchs in Mean Green. Tight basketball game. Got it done. We will add one more automatic qualifier today out of the Mountain West when Wyoming takes on Fresno State. Fresno State, the 4 seed in that tournament. The top 3 all getting upset. New Mexico and UNLV, they'll have to wait on at-large selections to see if they'll be heading to the big dance.
So much great basketball still to be had, not only this week and around Champ Week, but then whenever March Madness comes to Texas. You see it down in San Antonio, Austin, San Marcos, the 3 host sites in the middle of Central Texas, like you mentioned. And women's basketball, all eyes will be on the Lone Star State coming up in the next couple weeks.
Bubble settings for... She picked that one up and put it back down. Turnover by Jazzion Jackson. Women in Central Texas, the men will head to the Indianapolis area. The women's NIT will be held at 4 different regional sites, including here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, over at Wilkerson Grimes in Fort Worth. Hudson top of the key. Down low, we haven't seen much from Maggie Robinson lately. They'll need her to contribute. Asia Wayne scored, and she's up to 13 points.
13 of the 19 have come from Wayne, and we can really credit this North Texas defense of stifling the early run from Old Dominion as this one trickles out of play. But Wayne has really had anything she's wanted, especially whenever she gets down low. And even just being 5'10", she's more physical than you would normally think. But whenever she has an open lane to the hoop, just like this, kind of using a defender as a screen to her own route to the bucket.
Wayne had 16 points in yesterday's win over Western Kentucky. Again, already up to 13, and we're not even 12 minutes deep into this ball game. Fourth turnover committed by North Texas. Old Dominion has given it away 7 times.
After Old Dominion really struggled to hold on to the basketball in the first quarter.
The officials will clarify here and give the ball to North Texas now.
It was kind of an interesting call initially. It was a tight pass right on the inside, trying to get it to Destiny Brooks, and then Amari Young cut off the passing lane and got her hand in there. I thought it was definitely off of Young, but like you said, the initial call was ODU, but I think they got it right.
Noble runs into a lot of traffic down low and scramble for the basketball left side of the lane. Possession should stay on this side of the floor.
Nice job of Noble just getting back into the mix here. See that ball trickle from underneath. There were 3 Navy jerseys right there, but kind of submerged in the pile, and a massive humanity right off to the side of the elbow. And then there is Quincy Noble to hold on to the possession for North Texas.
Noble's hometown, just 1 city to the east of here in Frisco. She's from McKinney. Transfer from the University of New Mexico. And throws that one away. But immediately convert.
Even Quincy Noble had a bit of a smile on her face after that one. That was a fun exchange, and now she has it the other way.
Back and forth they go. Both teams having some trouble. As the latest to miss is Jazzion Jackson, the sophomore from Dallas.
North Texas could be looking at the first quarter and change of this ball game and saying that they really don't have a rhythm. It seems like they haven't really found any kind of groove. I mean, they're shooting 40%. You've only had the 1 make and 5 tries from beyond the arc. This is not the North Texas game that you normally want to see.
Gomez off the front of the rim. Student athlete from France has 4 points. That was her first miss. Offensive foul on ODU and Amari Young. That's her second.
So now both post presences for each side. You have Maddie Townley for North Texas, Amari Young for ODU. Each of them have a personal foul to their, or excuse me, a couple personal fouls to their total early in this one. Can't afford that third one. That's when you really get in foul trouble.
Jackson trying to find some help, getting it into Noble, knocked away, and it'll stay with the mean green.
Oh, Hudson almost came up with that loose basketball on the baseline. She had a teammate behind her. She didn't have to catch it herself. If she would have just gotten a palm on that ball, she would have been able to shift it to a teammate.
8 seconds left in the shot clock as they inbound. They'll have to hurry. 3 seconds. High arcing shot. Doesn't draw anything. Limited amount of time as UNT put that ball back into action. Weren't able to find a good look.
North Texas was just the one bucket following the quarter break. Or excuse me, they have not had a bucket here this quarter. The only bucket has gone to ODU and Asia Wayne. Both defenses finding a bit of a rhythm and slowing things down. North Texas shooting just 36% now.
Adams setting up the offense, getting it in to Wayne. Wayne turns, backs out. Going one-on-one with Jackson. Now some help over from Gomez. And Young. 21-17 Monarchs.
It's close to being the first three-point try for Old Dominion. Still haven't hit one from beyond the arc.
Jackson off the back of the iron. Early on, we're curious to see if it is an advantage for Old Dominion having played yesterday. They have one game, and beyond that, really going into overtime against Western Kentucky, whereas North Texas hasn't played since last weekend.
I think you are seeing a little bit of that advantage. It may not be visible, but even on the scoreboard, North Texas has been clunky, but they're on paper the more talented team. They've got to take advantages of shots like that to be able to get back in this and really take advantage of the scoreboard, because they haven't already.
Destiny Brooks hits. First two for UNT in a while. You always wonder about that conversation with these ladder-style tournaments as teams get the single bye or the double bye. In some leagues, you've got a triple bye all the way into the semifinals. And a team that has played in previous days sometimes will catch them off guard. Tied at 21 as Gomez hits. The Texas Tech transfer hailing from France.
You mentioned the bye. Of course, the winner of this game will take on Charlotte. Charlotte has not played in quite some time. So Old Dominion or North Texas having played one or two games respectively, then they'll turn around and maybe they'll have the advantage tomorrow.
Hard hit on the floor. And thankfully getting up easily is Kira Neal.
Neal, one of those exciting young prospects for Coach Mitchell's squad. She's an aggressive player, and it looked like she just got tripped up. Foul was called against Adams, but Neal ultimately will go to the line. I think she'll take the contact for a couple free foul shots and a chance at the lead.
He got caught up with Neal's foot there and hit the hardwood. And we would like to welcome in the coaches and players for the Charlotte 49ers, no doubt scouting their next opponent right now, watching the stream from back at the team hotel.
Talk about a program with some winning success, especially as of late. That's a Charlotte team that has some talent on that roster. They're going to be a tough out in this tournament if they, no matter who they play out of this game, and then if they move on to play on the other side of the bracket. Watch out for the 49ers.
We'll have them right here on Court B, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central tomorrow. And I'll be joined by Colin Boddicker on the call. Top of the key, and Gomez off the mark. Quickly, the other side for Old Dominion. And below the rim. Nice offensive board, though, by Robinson. She cannot convert.
That's one thing Robinson does very well. She attacks that glass on the offensive end. That's another thing North Texas does well, is move in transition.
Nia Boyd, she has grown tremendously in her offensive ability for North Texas, up to 4. Timeout called by Old Dominion as they now have a 3-point disadvantage. Mean Green.
And whenever they did early on, they had success. North Texas
by Old Dominion as they now have a 3-point disadvantage. Mean Green.
And whenever they did early on, they had success. North Texas forced them to get into that half-court offense, forced things to slow down a little bit. And ever since then, the Mean Green have found their footing. They've been able to have some traction defensively, and because of that, ODU has not had any success from the perimeter.
Morris drives to the bucket, fouled. Old Dominion trying to end a 7-0 run by North Texas. It has lasted over the last 2.5 minutes.
North Texas, who had some foul trouble in that first quarter, that's only their first here of the second, so they've been able to rein that in as well. They had 4 fouls in the first, including 2 going to Maddie Townley, who has since not seen the floor. She checked out for Vilas Gomez. And Vilas Gomez has done a nice job anchoring that post, not allowing Old Dominion to have any kind of that presence inside like they had in the first quarter.
Morris unsuccessful on the front end. Old Dominion entered this game on a 3-game winning streak. All 3 of those coming against Western Kentucky. 2 to close out the regular season. And they met again in the preliminary round yesterday. ODU needed overtime to survive. They trailed by 12 against the Lady Toppers at one point.
That was such a good pass from Vilas Gomez. It got picked off, I think, because Noble was surprised the ball ended up in her hands. She weaved through a defense and fit that pass in between the trees. ODU just picked up off of the mishap from Noble.
Jazzion Jackson forces a turnover, and Gomez lays it in with the right hand.
She has been so good off the bench for North Texas. Borderline starting ability. The transfer from Texas Tech had a career game against Rice in that win in the regular season finale. And it's turned a little bit into that stretch 4 for North Texas. Hasn't been the stretch 4 tonight. She's mostly anchored the post.
And that was one of the key points that Coach Mitchell talked to us about yesterday, that North Texas needs to take advantage of their size, including the 6'3" Vilas Gomez. Old Dominion back within 2. Gomez trying to find Noble, able to hand it off to her, and she'll try to take care of business herself off the front rim. Wayne pushing the pace. In traffic. Tie ball game at 26.
Wow, what a game Wayne is having. This has been special for her. She had 16 points last night. Not only does she already have the double-double, but 15 points tonight, 11 rebounds, and we're not even at halftime yet. This is impressive.
Gomez unsuccessful. She's now 4 for 7 from the field. Robinson thought about the baseline triple, instead gets to Morris from distance.
The way that Wayne has been winning has been with finesse, but also by inviting contact. And you see both here. Not only did she go to the left side of the lane where she has been attacking right the majority of this first half, kind of threw the defense for a loop, and then she just puts a knee in her defender, invites the contact, and creates separation enough to get the bucket.
Great feed down low to Jackson. Jackson had a breakout performance last Thursday against Rice, scoring 20.
She has been so good for North Texas in her first 2 years. The Dallas, Texas native, Skyline High School, which has produced quite a few women's basketball stars. And Jackson's another one of those where really as soon as she stepped on campus and didn't have an impact, she was a scorer. She was a catalyst. And even though she may not put as many points up on the board as she did at some points in her early career, she still provides as a jolt and a little bit of electric jolt to this North Texas offense.
Dallas-Fort Worth area hotbed for high school girls basketball, and the Mean Green have tapped into it in a big way. Just look down their roster. You mentioned Skyline, several other top-notch programs represented. The 2021 CUSA Baseball Championship heads to Ruston, Louisiana, and the new Love Shack, May 26th through the 30th. Live coverage available right here on ESPN+. Visit conferenceusa.com for more information. Gorgeous new facility on Louisiana Tech campus after a tornado destroyed the previous ball field. They've rebuilt it in the same place, but much nicer and better. All the modern amenities, but still the feel that you had at the old Pat Patterson Park.
It's really awesome to be able to not only have that stadium down there in Ruston, but to be able to host a tournament like the Conference USA Championships, normally in Biloxi, Mississippi, at the home of the Biloxi Shuckers. That'll be a fun week in May.
Traffic down low. Ball gets away from North Texas. 9th turnover they've committed. ODU has given it away 10 times. 35 seconds left in the first half. This game has been tied 6 different occasions. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Young back out to Adams. A whistle and a travel on Adams. North Texas will regain possession with just under 19 seconds remaining.
It's a big point going into that half-court offense. That's not the specialty of Old Dominion. The Old Dominion Monarchs want to run in transition. When you set up in the half-court like that, you're definitely vulnerable to making a couple of mistakes. They did so there.
Mean Green with an opportunity to take the last shot. Neal, spin move, but a whistle. And it'll be ODU ball. They'll have a chance to take the last shot.
Neal frustrated with that call. She certainly looked like she put the ball on the ground. The official was in a great position to make that call, though.
Monarchs will have to hurry. Wayne, she has 15, but she dishes this time. Fouled before the whistle. Will she head to the line? She will not. They will keep the teams on the floor. Excuse me. Quick explanation.
Seconds up on the clock.
This game was tied at 17 at the end of the first quarter. And Young will try to make sure it is not tied at the end of the second. First free throw misses, though.
Young just 48% from the line.
She hits the back end, and the Monarchs will go into halftime with a 29-28 advantage over
the points in the paint that they really wanted through that first half. So it's an interesting turnaround between these two programs.
As we begin the second half, remember how hot Odin 28 advantage over
the points in the paint that they really wanted through that first half. So it's an interesting turnaround between these two programs.
As we begin the second half, remember how hot ODU was in the final 2 quarters and into overtime yesterday as they knocked off Western Kentucky. They scored 60 points when you combine the third, fourth, and OT. Down low, Old Dominion starts with the possession. Lee trying to knock it away. Shot clock down to 10. Top of the key for Robinson. Over to Morris. Morris loses the handle. Scramble for it on the floor. Possession will go to North Texas. UNT closing out the regular season, as Kyle mentioned, with a series against Rice. They lost in Houston on Thursday, 64-58, and came back on Saturday and won 75-66. The Mean Green closed out the regular season, winning 5 of their last 9.
One of the hotter teams whenever March comes around, and they've had success here in Frisco and through the conference tournament over the years, but haven't found a rhythm yet in this one.
Jazzion Jackson off the mark. She, like you talked about, North Texas not finding a rhythm. Jackson among them. She is now 2 of 8 from the field.
Yeah, just 4 points for Jackson, 2 rebounds and an assist to her total. She did not have a rhythm in the last game against Rice either, after putting up 20 points in game 1 of that back-to-back. So Jackson's one of those players that just hasn't found a rhythm against this perimeter defense from ODU, but good thing that her counterparts in Boyd and Noble have played around.
Adams drives and lays it in with the left hand. She has 8.
A quiet 8 for Adams as well, going along with the 15 points that Wayne had in that first half.
Like to see if Adams can heat up from distance over the final 2 quarters. She has yet to hit a 3-pointer today, but has a team leading 38%.
Once again, points in the paint have been key. It's a nice job there defensively by Boyd, trying to change the direction of Adams, but Adams just put her shoulder down and went straight into Boyd and straight into the defender. There you see the points in the paint, 22-20. It's been the majority of the scoring so far.
(31-28) Old Dominion. Fighting for real estate. Ill-conceived pass. Too many bodies trying to get that to Robinson.
Chris, these next couple of minutes are going to be crucial of how this game turns out, because you mentioned just how Old Dominion is in the second half, and especially yesterday, putting up 60-plus points in the second half and overtime. North Texas is the same way. They are a second-half team. So whichever team starts hitting their shots, starts executing the game plan better here in this early part of this third quarter, even into the fourth, they're going to have a really good chance of winning this ball game.
Kira Neal denied her first field goal, but she will head to the free throw line for the second time today. Another player, curious to see if they can get it going here in the second half for Old Dominion, be Victoria Morris. She's 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 4 from beyond the arc. The all-conference second team selection. Yesterday, Morris hit 5 3-pointers.
She is one of those don't leave me open type of players, and Morris was a huge key to hitting that late win last night against Western Kentucky. If she finds fire here in this second half, watch out.
By the way, Amari Young, that was her 3rd foul on that last sequence. She remains in the ball game for now. Doesn't appear that Coach Milton Jones will relieve her just yet.
We saw that in the first half with Young and Townley, both post presence for these programs, have had to see a lot of time on the bench.
Nia Boyd, sophomore from Dr. John Horn High School in Mesquite. We talked about earlier the DFW presence. What a great spin move by Aisha Wayne to get up to 17 points.
How do you do that?
Ball control, incredible.
That was unbelievable.
That's time in the weight room, my friend. Quincy Noble from distance. That's just the second 3-pointer for North Texas today.
Both of them have come from Noble, up to 10 points. 18th time this year she's hit double digits.
Adams switches to the right hand. Offensive foul. So let's go back to look at that spin move and ball control by Adams. Watch her keep the Rock in control there. Amazing.
And Wayne going up on the defender. Again, Boyd doing a nice job. She is draped all over Wayne. And a turn and spin just to lay it in almost backwards at the rim. That was impressive. That's a gameplay that you don't get to see a lot. Normally, that's a practice type of shot, but she got it to go in. It's been that kind of day for her.
Game tied at 33. Boyd off the right side of the rim. On the floor, Old Dominion teammates rushing to Asia Wayne's side. Coach Milton Jones calling for a good bucket there. I'll say it will be on the floor for ODU. Mariah Adams will inbound from under the Old Dominion bucket. Quick feed to Maggie Robinson. Her first 2 points of the day.
And she did that all herself. Kept North Texas off balance defensively. And then burst right into the paint. Had a wide open look.
The lead has changed 5 times, 7 ties. Old Dominion now up by 2. Closing in on 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Adams lost control for a moment there, and Lee reached in.
I believe that's the third on Rochelle Lee as well. Now 2 players for North Texas dealing with foul trouble. Both forwards in the starting lineup. Rochelle Lee and Maddie Townley have a trio of fouls to their own right. So now you're going to have to go deeper into the bench.
And again, the Monarchs will inbound from under their own basket, opposite side from the last time. And Vilas Gomez replaces Tamisha Lampkin. Asia Hudson, the junior from Baldwin, New York, now over to Adams. Picked up by Neal, and a scramble for the basketball, reclaimed by Wayne. 19 points for Wayne, and she can make it 20 at the line.
Now this is a hustle play from the Birmingham native. That ball, after a great rebound from Neal, hit off the back of the iron, and Wayne never flinched. She continued going to that basketball and then fought it away from a couple of North Texas players, and now it's a chance for 20 with the free throw.
I'm not the best lip reader, Kyle. Pretty sure that was let's go. 4-point lead for Old Dominion after the hoop and the harm. She cannot turn it into a 3-point play, though. And her game total remains at 19 points. Wayne is 8 of 11 from the field. Also 14 rebounds for Wayne. Let's not discount that.
A lot of those have been on the offensive end as well. I think that has to be noted because second chance points have been crucial for Old Dominion here as of late.
Knocked away, bodies on the floor. UNT gets the ball back. 5 minutes left, third quarter. Monarchs lead by 4. Big possession here for North Texas before the next media timeout. Nice work. Solid look for Vilas Gomez.
That's a big bucket for the Mean Green. You started feeling that momentum shift.
And Adams fouled as she goes up to the rim. Old Dominion goes back. Much production from their leading scorer, Victoria Morris, averaging 16 points per game. And so far today, just 3.
One of the reasons for that is Old Dominion has been stifled from the perimeter. North Texas, the best 3-point defensive team in the conference, is showing exactly why they are at the top of the conference in that category. And Morris, the majority of her game is dangerous from the outside.
ODU matches its biggest lead of the day at 5 points. North Texas trims it back to 3. 4:15 remaining in the third quarter. As Vilas Gomez hits, she's up to 12. That's the best on this North Texas effort. Wayne down low fighting against Noble. Remarkable performance thus far by Asia Wayne. She's taken it right to UNT's top player in Quincy Noble.
Noble certainly had her struggles just trying to keep up with the physicality and the speed.
Can't get the lay-in to fall. Now Adams in traffic over Vilas Gomez, doesn't go. Boyd kicks it back out. Noble off the front of the rim.
That was perfect transition defense from Emma Vilas Gomez.
Brooks with a finger roll. And UNT within 3. An up and down season for the Mean Green, as you might expect in this pandemic season. At one point, UNT went 20 days between games. But they made it to the other side and now have an opportunity here at the Conference USA Championship. Vilas Gomez over the top of Wayne, no good.
Not exactly sure what the breakdown was there for North Texas in transition. Vilas Gomez took it herself, went coast to coast.
Morris, wing 3, good. Just as we talked about her having some trouble, needing her to heat up from beyond the arc. That's her first of the day from distance.
It took almost 2.5, almost 3 quarters to get that first 3, but 1 of 8 for time. And she's done nothing but add to that, just a couple away from her season high. Career high on the way as well if she continues at this pace. But there you see the breakdown by quarter. She got off to a hot start, but hasn't really slowed down since.
She had 16 in yesterday's win over Western Kentucky. Also had 8 rebounds in that game. Today, up to 14 boards.
You're starting to see a little frustration set in from North Texas. They're getting these good looks. They're getting open opportunities to attack the bucket, and they just can't get these buckets to fall consistently. 37% from the field today.
This is ODU's biggest lead of the day at 6 points. Wayne with ball in her hand again. Top of the key, can't find anybody. Finally does. 3 seconds left on the shot clock, forcing one up. Morris no good, but ODU with the offensive board. They'll wave it off. North Texas basketball.
Did a great job of adjusting there defensively because North Texas was all out of sorts. Following the offensive rebound after that one caromed out to the middle of the free throw line almost. And a great job on the board by Young to just grab it, but she was out of control. North Texas saw that, stepped right in front of it, drew the charge, and took away what would have been a huge bucket for the Monarchs and keeps North Texas within a pair of possessions.
North Texas is in this one because of their reserves. A 19-0 lead in bench points right now over ODU. The Monarchs certainly play with a shorter roster, though. Emma Vilas Gomez, her 13th and 14th points. She's now 7 of 11 from the field.
That time splitting a couple defenders with the spin move, and you see the intensity. Has a chance to tie her career high, which she set last game against Rice, with another one here. But you see the points in the paint. Old Dominion has dominated that since the halftime break. Vilas Gomez, however, though, is the one that has really kind of contributed down there for North Texas.
And I mentioned the bench points. Emma started the game began the game as a reserve, rather. She's a big reason why UNT is leading in that category. Destiny Brooks, the Cal State Northridge transfer. Again to Vilas Gomez. A fight underneath, getting a little chippy down low between the Monarchs and the Mean Green. Mariah Adams getting in the face of her opponents.
It's postseason basketball, Chris. It's win or go home. There's going to be some intensity and a nice job just getting in there. It seemed like Adams took a little bit of offense to that as you saw what Jackson was able to do, get both hands on the basketball with the possession arrow pointing the other direction. It still gives an advantage to North Texas here, just having that spin their way.
Saw the difference in facial expressions there. Jackson with a smile on her face as she backs away. Adams quite a bit angrier. Hudson. That blocks will stay with ODU. The 2021 Conference USA Softball Championships will take place May 12th through the 15th in Bowling Green, Kentucky, hosted by the Lady Toppers. Live coverage right here on ESPN+. Visit conferenceusa.com for more information. Closing in on the end of the third quarter, ODU back up by 6, and UNT can't hit the layup on the other end by Boyd.
Before that big bucket from Morris, ODU had only made one of their last 7. North Texas has really clamped down defensively.
Driving to the hole, Adams. Offensive foul. And the UNT bench explodes, looking for something positive as they head into the final quarter break.
That was the same duo that was tangled up at the other end of the floor a couple moments ago. Jackson drawing the foul on Adams.
And that's Adams' 4th of the game. Last shot of the third quarter, way off the mark. And North Texas will go into the fourth quarter down by 6 points to Old Dominion. The modulation.
We're going to see close games all day, I think, throughout
the fourth quarter, down by 6 points to Old Dominion. The modulation.
We're going to see close games all day, I think, throughout the women's bracket in the morning, moving into the afternoon and the evening session with the men. There's going to be a lot of good basketball to be played. Hoops at the Star, the curtain separating the two courts. It is unlike any other, I believe, throughout college basketball. It's been a ton of fun to be a part of.
Ron Thulin and former TCU Horned Frog Colin Boddicker on the call over on Court A, and you can find that game on ESPN+. Here on Court B, Old Dominion with a 6-point advantage. We begin the fourth quarter, and for UNT trying to avoid an upset with a team that Coach Mitchell called the strongest one she has had in her 6 years from top to bottom.
Which is no surprise, and being around that program and seeing the way that she has built it from when she got here in 2015, at least at Denton, it has been a complete overhaul. They've always had talented players. I mean, throughout the first 4 years of her career, at least head coaching career, she had Terry O'Bradley, who was an all-conference perennial talent, and definitely someone that some of these younger players, when they were underclassmen at North Texas, was able to look up to, and now it's their turn, and they've definitely taken the baton well.
And now the Monarchs have pushed their lead to 7. Again, the biggest one of the day as Morris gets to 10 points. She is the Monarchs' leading scorer with 16 per game. UNT fighting back hoop in the harm. Quincy Noble, she will not go down quietly.
Great cut here from Noble. She was set up in the corner, and as soon as they shifted all of the attention up top to the stretch 4, Noble saw that and snuck right behind Victoria Morris for that backdoor cut. That's something that Noble does very well. Whenever Asia Wayne has been the defender on Noble, she hasn't been as successful, but Morris lost track over there.
That's 13 for Noble. Last time out, 27 points against Rice. And after the previous matchup with the Owls, where she only went for 5 points, made some adjustments, came out and had a great game as the Mean Green knocked off the Owls. Morris swing 3. Falls out. Right underneath, though, offensive board by Wheaton.
Notice a couple switches for North Texas. Townley back in. She is a rebounding threat. Then they also are pressuring Old Dominion in the backcourt.
Great move to get around Robinson. Big bucket for Vilas Gomez, and she's up to 17 points.
Quick start to this fourth quarter.
UNT had a chance to tie it there with the steal, but gave it right back. And Asia Hudson will head to the line.
Love to get another look at this. Destiny Brooks in transition. I didn't think there was a ton of contact here. It was an early whistle on the foul, as you see Hudson driving in, there's a little bit of contact there. Of course, Destiny Brooks is going to plead her case to the official, but I think that might have been the right call.
She's still talking about it. Doesn't think she deserved that foul call. Old Dominion now stretches the lead to 3.
Old Dominion has a pair of starters on the bench at the moment. Just one of the two now with some foul trouble. Amari Young has 4. Mariah Adams also has 4. Monarchs have only committed 9 fouls in the game, and 8 of them have come split between those two players, as now they both check back in. But keep an eye on that, because Old Dominion, as you see there, doesn't use the bench a whole lot. They like to go with their starting 5 for the majority of the game.
And Hudson heads back to the bench. She'll stay out there. But those are her first 2 points of the day after 15 yesterday against Western Kentucky.
First 2 bench points overall.
Scramble. UNT regains it. Quincy Noble, she's pumped up.
15 points for her, and she is fighting for every inch. The redshirt sophomore trying to claw North Texas back into this.
She forces it. That's when she runs into trouble and has the low output like she had last Thursday against the Owls.
Another rebound for Wayne. She has 15. She is so good at tracking the basketball off the rim.
Morris nearly had the hoop and the harm. A 2-point lead for the Monarchs. Winner is in the quarterfinals tomorrow against the Charlotte 49ers. Right back here on Court B.
4 fouls now for Maddie Townley. 6-foot redshirt senior out of Duncanville. There she is right there. Coach saying that she's the rock of games as a part of the Mean Green. And that's somebody North Texas wants on the floor.
One thing to watch for ODU as we head down the stretch here. On the offensive glass, the Monarchs have been much better than the Mean Green so far today. 12-4 edge. Baseline 3 long. Will stay on the floor for UNT after the whistle. Adams. That's her 5th, I do believe. Or is that? Yes, that is number 5. She is done for the day. 11 points for her, 4 of 12 from the field. That will be a big gap for the Monarchs heading down to these final 7 minutes. They will miss her. And Hudson needs some help getting back up on the other end. But Adams, it wasn't just about the point total for her. It was the fight and tenacity. She seemed to be involved in every single.
Into that lineup for the Monarchs in crucial 1-point possession time here.
Wheaton, the freshman from Hope, Arkansas. She was Conference USA Freshman of the Week back on February 8th after she scored 11 against Marshall.
Talk about a sneaky hotbed in terms of talent. Hope in Little Rock, Arkansas. There's a lot of talented ball players that come out of there.
Pass down low to Wheaton, and the freshman gets her first 2.
She may not be in the game for a whole lot, but she's going to make the most of it.
Vilas Gomez, leading scorer for North Texas with 17. In trouble in the corner, pushes it back out to Jazzion Jackson. Noble drives and pops. UNT within 3.
North Texas has needed her to catch fire. She certainly has looked like that in the 4th quarter. She needs to continue the hot streak.
Now tied for the team lead with 17 points. Noble and Vilas Gomez. Old Dominion slowing things down, and Morris up to 13 points.
They're not going to give her the perimeter. Watch her to take that little 16-foot jumper. She'll drive in and then pull up. Create separation well.
Morris had 3 points in the first half, 10 here in the second. North Texas gets the 2 and heading to the free throw line. Chance to cut the lead for Old Dominion to 2 points.
I've been nothing but impressed with Vilas Gomez tonight. Talk about active shooter. She can pull up from the baseline. She can drive in. She can move at 6'3". She can rebound. She's done it all, and here she brings them back within 2. 20 points for her tonight.
First round game on Court A has gone final. Florida International beats Southern Miss 85-75. For the Panthers, Giselle Thomas, 34 points and 15 rebounds. Now the Panthers get the top seed out of the West Division, the Rice Owls, tomorrow. These teams fighting for the chance to meet Charlotte in the quarterfinals. Old Dominion leading 58-54. The chance to pull the first upset of this tournament. It's been chalk so far everywhere else. North Texas not happy with that call.
Wow.
And Townley, her day will be done. Maddie Townley, the senior from Duncanville, has her day come to a close. Old Dominion leads by 4.
If North Texas can't mount a 4-point comeback here in the final 4:41. Can't mount a 4-point comeback here in the final 4:41. May be done for her North Texas career.
The senior, former Duncanville Pantherette. The most storied programs in all of Texas high school girls basketball. Made her way to Denton. And now as a senior, she started in every game but one this year. She closes out today with no points, no shots, 5 fouls. Maggie Robinson hits. Her first 3-point attempt of the day is good.
Robinson's been sneaky good from downtown this season, and there she just pulls up and knocks it down.
On the other end, Kira Neal trying to keep her team in it, the freshman from Edmond, Oklahoma. Quick timeout called by the Mean Green.
I like that from Coach Mitchell. You trade a couple of buckets.
Old Dominion, hot hand of late, 4 of their last 4. Now under 4 minutes to go here in regulation.
There's that pressure again. Not as heavy from the North Texas side.
Several people I talked to who watched the entirety of that Western Kentucky Old Dominion game yesterday said that Western Kentucky had no business losing that game. Old Dominion was hitting crazy shots near the end of it. Ended up sending it to overtime. Monarchs winning in that extra frame. And now they have an opportunity to reach the Conference USA quarterfinals.
I feel like you could say the same thing with Old Dominion here. They have really done exactly what their game plan was coming into this. They really have no business losing this game, but watch out, North Texas can't catch fire.
Old Dominion, Victoria Morris, their leading scorer, all-conference second-team selection. Picked by Robinson. Back to her. Pump fake, 7 on the shot clock. Force that pass right into the hands of Jazzion Jackson. Can they turn it into points? North Texas does. Emma Vilas Gomez. That's 22 for her on the day.
She's been so crisp from that mid-range, whether it's on the baseline or from the elbow extended. She has been impressive.
Under 2.5 minutes. Old Dominion up 4. Field goal percentage nearly even. Monarchs shooting 44% from the field. North Texas 41%. Big rebound by the French student athlete. Whew. Loud contact near the free throw line. And watch UNT turn this into points as Jackson got in the way of that pass.
Jackson so quick. Anticipates passes so easily. She's 15th in the conference in steals for a reason. Then a nice job finding the outlet pass in transition. Vilas Gomez, who has had the hot hand, they force-fed her even in that third quarter. And as a stretch four, she's worked on that outside game. That's something she didn't necessarily come to North Texas with. She has really refined that and made it something special.
How about catching fire when it matters most? Vilas Gomez went for a season high 15 points last Saturday against the Rice Owls, and now today up to 22, by far eclipsing that season best performance. She has her team within 3, Kyle, excuse me.
One of the other things she does really well, Chris, is she hasn't missed a free throw all year. 13 of 13 from the line. She cashes in again, even though it took a little bit.
Maybe below the threshold, the number of attempts to be considered the national leader. She's 100%. Quick pass down low. Just threaded the needle to get it to Asia Wayne, and she's up to 25. .95 seconds remaining. UNT trails by 4. Big rebound by Hudson, but a scramble for the basketball. On the other end of the
floor. But FAU, a little bit sneaky if they can have some post presence.
ODU has been hot of late, but had trouble there. 6 of 8. It's North Texas' opportunity to pull within 3. Can't get the layup to fall, and Old Dominion gets the ball back. Fighting against the press from North Texas. 3 people on Wayne.
Winning the first 3 quarters and then some. The officials have really swallowed their whistles as of late. Letting them play, letting the physicality roam here in the final couple minutes.
50 seconds to go. If the margin remains as it is, this will be the last time UNT will let ODU have a full possession. This time it pays off. Shot clock violation. And North Texas gets the ball back down by 4.
And it looks like they're going to take another look at the clock here.
Texas was trying to ride the momentum of a win over Rice to close the regular season. Coach Mitchell said team would have felt.
But can North Texas convert? That's been the biggest question. They have missed some opportunities down the stretch.
40 seconds remaining. Quincy Noble wants the ball in her hands. Feeds down low to Neal. Neal missing. Young with the board. ODU gets a timeout. North Texas trying to either steal or foul the Monarchs. Instead, Delisha Milton ball zeros. 65-61 Monarchs. Long pass inbounds to Young. She'll hit it and get the foul, and the Monarchs on the verge of advancing.
Could be the dagger, Chris. A fantastic pass from Wayne right over the top of the defender. Reeled in by Young, and I know her first name is Amari. There's another Amari that practices in this building for the Dallas Cowboys. She reeled that in like a receiver over a cornerback and then took a dribble, made the bucket, and a huge chance at a three-point play.
67-61 ODU. As Young is up to 8 points on the day. She averages 13. As Young is up to 8 points on the day. She averages 13.7 as soon as this one is complete. North Texas down by 7. 20 seconds remaining. Need to get up a shot in a hurry. Noble, no good. Offensive rebound by Jazzion Jackson. Back out beyond the arc. Noble hits this time. 4-point difference. Quick timeout called. 4-point difference. Quick timeout called by Bake to get to Central Texas and the NCAA Women's Tournament. Robinson, and quick foul committed by Jazzion Jackson. Now it becomes an issue of free throw shooting for ODU. If they can hit from the line, they'll put this one away. Asia Wayne. 25 points, 16 rebounds, make it 26 points today. Willing her team to the quarterfinals. Second attempt, rolls out, under 10 seconds remaining. North Texas will try to get another quick shot up. Noble, no good. Down low, Jackson. Pull within 3. And ODU will head to the line once again with 1.3 seconds remaining and a 3-point difference. Even if the Monarchs were to miss both free throws, it would be a Herculean effort for the Mean Green to extend this game.
Noble trying to draw the contact on the 3-point shot. Nice job by Jackson just getting some real estate down low to get the offensive rebound and the putback. So one free throw here should put it away. You miss both, then North Texas has an opportunity for a miracle.
ODU has made 6 of its 9 free throws in this quarter, make it 7 of 10. 4-point advantage, and the Monarchs will advance to face the Charlotte 49ers tomorrow. 71-66 ODU. UNT will take one final shot off the backboard. And for North Texas, a season that saw them rise to 3rd place in the Western Division comes to a close in heartbreak. And Old Dominion moves on to the 3rd day.